Hey y'all, not too long ago, on Christmas Day, I posted yet another video for the first time in about a year or two on YouTube. Not very many people have watched my videos thus far, and you know what, I don't put them on here just to get views or just to have people watch them. I put them on here that maybe one day, whether I'm here on this earth still or not, just one day, maybe something I put up here will touch someone's life, that they may change someone else's, or maybe even their own. So on Christmas Day, I posted a video, or maybe it was Christmas Eve. I posted a video from my quarantine room. I got tested for COVID 3 days prior to Christmas Eve and was just fine. And then on Christmas Eve, still feeling just fine, I tested positive for COVID. But within 12 hours, my symptoms started. And not excluding symptoms that turned my world upside down. I have factor V. I was born with hereditary factors of my blood that made it to where certain things given to me would make it easier for me to get blood clots faster. So birth control would make it to where my blood could clot faster. I could have clots at young ages. I could have had clots as a baby, even just for having it. And I got lucky up till the time I was 26 and not having any blood clots. And ending up on lifelong blood thinners. It's a minimal thing to deal with, just taking another med in your life. But on top of that, to boot, they tried changing my meds from Coumadin to Eliquis. And remembering back with the one blood clotting issue I had from mom and dad's side, I had a factor V Leiden, but from dad's side I also had protein C deficiency, which explains exactly why I had a reclot on a medication called Eliquis, which was a great med for a lot of people. But for people like me, could not take it without reclotting. So I had to go back to warfarin. Back on warfarin, or Coumadin, which most people know it by both. I had to be monitored and blood work. I'm used to needles for the past 8 years, so it did not bother me. Quite frankly, I've been used to needles my whole life. Chronic pain, illness here and there. I've had skin cancer when I was little. I've had a couple little things here and there, minor. I've had a few surgeries in my past. Neither here nor there. I've cheated the Reaper a few too many times, and I'm kind of wondering why he hasn't coming back at me with a vengeance. But I praise God every day that he hasn't. I was kind of starting to wonder this time around if he had. So, on Christmas Day, I got admitted to the hospital because COVID-19 for patients with blood clotting factors such as hemophilia, where your blood cannot clot, had been making it, and were on medications to clot their blood, had been making it to where their blood clotted too fast, at least short term. So they had to give them blood clotting agents such as Lovenox, get their blood back under control. And then when they finally got things back under control and reversed, or if they were still dealing with a blood clot, until it's back under control and reversed, it's easier to be able to release someone back out of the hospital before or after symptoms of COVID are done with a pulmonary embolism still being treated than a bleeding disorder still being treated. So I still sit in the hospital. But this morning, I woke up and thought it was the 27th of December. I woke up early morning, the 26th, not feeling well. Called my nurses in. Really cool dude. His name's Sam. Not going to disclose his last name. Works at the Valley Multi-Care. One of the most kick-ass dudes you'll ever meet. And Dr. Meyer. They saved my life because I don't remember much after a couple hours. I started bleeding more. My blood levels bottomed out. And I was moved to the ICU. They were running so many tests that I wasn't even aware of. And finally, the next thing I remember is, Jamie, wake up. We need you. And when I opened my eyes, I remember seeing Dr. Myers in my face saying, Jamie, I cannot emphasize how bad this can be for you. The next thing I remember is saying, Doctor, I know how bad this can be. I can bleed and die. It's the last thing I remember till, well, it's almost 12:30, folks, in the morning on the 30th of December. We're almost into the new year. I didn't need a ventilator. I did need oxygen. I still need it from time to time. But not as much anymore. Thank God. Sometimes when I'm up walking is it. It helps with the COVID headache. But I'm back on heparin, and we're still having to watch my blood values because COVID can still switch it back. Can still plummet me under. They're working on moving me to medical. Waiting for a bed. But I'm still not totally out of the woods. I'm still doing blood work every 4 to 6 hours. Still making sure I don't bleed to death. Still got to keep an eye on these chest pains I'm having. Make sure I didn't throw a clot into my lungs and die because I cannot breathe. So let's get to the good part. My family is aware I'm alive. My family is aware that I don't intend to give up. I am aware that I have an amazing health staff here that is going to make sure I stay alive, including the ones that are on tonight. I am aware that I am a young man who, over all of everything that's going on, will succeed in life. And I am aware that one day, when we all look back at this, we won't laugh. The next time something this bad happens, we will be better prepared. Not saying we're going to hope for this to happen again. But if and when something like this happens again, we will be better prepared to comfort our loved ones. We'll be better prepared to stop any petty fights we have between anyone in our family, blood or not, so we can be there for each other. And maybe we'll be better prepared for, I don't call them homeless, houseless friends, or our house friends alike. Be able to take care of each other. We're all one, people, we're all our own. And how I've always been raised is that we're to take care of us. So, the one thing I asked for from my quarantine room, which is still be on hold for when I get released, because I probably have at least 1 or 2 days I'll still have to be in quarantine, whether I like it or not. But they're moving me to a different site after I get out, so I can go outside. Don't worry, folks. It's just my OSAT. I will be fine. They'll come back up. It has always come back up. So, let's see. Our family, this whole entire world, I'm guessing we have about 1 billion people in just the States alone. I want to attempt at least a quarter of that in cranes. At least a quarter of a billion paper cranes is what I want to attempt to make. I love y'all. And what I want to attempt to make is a quarter of a billion paper cranes. And here's why. Back in 4th grade, I'm not making these for me. I know I'm going to make it through. I know I will survive. But back in 4th grade, for required reading, we had a story called Sudoku in the 1,000 Paper Cranes. We had a unit on origami, ancient Japanese paper folding. And the first project was coordinated with the book, Sudoku. And I'm going to give you the Cliff Notes version to the best of my memory. Sudoku on the 1,000 Paper Cranes starts out giving you a rundown of the bombing of Pearl Harbor in a slight degree, and then the attacks on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And then it flashes forward past World War II and the ending, and the breaking down of the walls. And then after that, it shows the aftermath, years later, of children, and even children of people from that war. And it tells the story of a young girl named Sudoku. A young lady who was an infant during the bombing of Hiroshima. And come just a few years after the war, into her teens, she's a track star, she's about ready to graduate high school at the end of the year. She's doing great, and all of a sudden, after she won this last track meet, it was a relay, 100-meter relay with her track mates, and she crosses the finish line, makes first. Parents, her friends, her track mates get down to the finish line, greet her, hoist her on her shoulders, they're getting ready to go party it out. They just won the biggest track meet of the year. They won the champions. They were going to state. Well, in the states, in any state, especially where I'm from, in this great United States we have, we would have been going to state. But Sudoku was going to the Capitol for the biggest of meets. And she passes out. And her parents rush her to the hospital. And her parents are scared. And so is Sudoku. They're running tests. They're seeing what's wrong with their child. They come back and tell the family that Sudoku has leukemia. And they need to start treatments right away. So Sudoku's going through all these painful treatments. Bone marrow biopsies, finding matches, finding donors. She's had donors, she's had chemo, she's sick, radiation therapy to help with the treatments as well. Family's looking into naturals while she's at home. And some of the naturals help with the nausea and stuff. She's still so sick. And they come across, and her grandmother tells her about a tradition. This tradition is folding paper cranes. These paper cranes, if you can fold 1,000 paper cranes before you die of any illness, no matter how big or how small, you will be better. They will heal you. So you got Sudoku holding these paper cranes. You got Sudoku's brother deciding to help his sister fold paper cranes. And they fight like cats and dogs. You would think her brother hated her. You would think she hated her brother. They loved each other. That's just their love language. They fight. I fight with my brother all the time. Right now, he's the son of the whole family, but I still fight with him. That's how I fight with him right now. I don't talk to him because he won't talk to me. He's got to make the first move until I decide to give him a hug. And then we're talking again. It'll happen when the time is right. Definitely not right now. I don't want to give my brother COVID. I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. I ended up with another new symptom today. This rash sucks. I can't get it to stop itching, even with meds. So, back to Sudoku. Sudoku, I'm imagining, knowing this art as well as I do, because I learned it quite quickly. I pick up things fast. The smallest one I ever made was with two pins, 2 needles, and a magnifying glass hat over my eyes. And it measured a half a centimeter across and up. But knowing with as weak as I am, I'm 4 days in the hospital, 3 days in the ICU. Just talking to the doctor that saved my life that morning through the window from bleeding to death. I got a team of 5 doctors here. She probably had a lot larger of a team because of what was going on with her. And 4 of these doctors are specialists. I don't want to imagine how many specialists she had. I already have about 4 specialists of my own that cover different areas. And I didn't realize how much more I needed. And I will have forever. Now because of this. So imagine what this girl was going through. And then when this legend comes to her from her grandmother, saying that it'll save her life, or it'll make her better. What people don't realize is that when your grandmother comes with you with wisdom like this, that when your brother or your mom and dad get upset, your older brother, your mom and dad get upset, they get upset at grandma for telling you this because they know grandma is telling you a lie. But you know why grandma's telling you this. You know grandma's not telling the truth. You know grandma, and they believe in traditions and they believe in stuff like this, but they know folding paper is not going to make you physically better. They're sad because they know their child is dying. Me, I know I'm not dying. I'm folding these for people who are. I'm folding these to give people hope. I'm folding these to give family hope. For their family. Give family faith. For their family. In these dark, despair times. Maybe one less person will be depressed. Maybe one less person will take their life because someone took the time to think of them and pray for them. These nurses are burnt out, and I think of them every day. Even before they were taking care of me, I've been passed out, I've been in a coma, I've been disoriented, and now I'm awake and alive because of these people. I've got a lot of amends to make because I have been mean and crude and rude to some of these nurses. I know other people have been as well. These cranes represent hope, faith, courage, love, and prayer. Those are the 5 I made thus far. And each one will have a word of affirmation on it for whoever receives it. And a prayer along with it that only God will hear. No matter what happens to me, whether I survive this or not, know that every one of you are in my thoughts and prayers. Every one of you, whether I know you or not, are being lifted up from my heart to my higher power. These cranes represent hope. They represent love. They represent a family you didn't know you had and may never know you have. I never want to see one person hopeless because they don't think anyone cares. If this has brought you hope today, it's worth it. If you don't think it's enough, I'm so sorry. These gave Sudoku hope, and it showed her the love of her family, friends, and neighbors. Because when she was too weak to get out of bed and do them, her family, her friends, her neighbors, her grandparents, her aunts, uncles, people who didn't even live near her, presidents, kings, emperors, folded them, sent them, came to her home, sat by her bedside, folded them. And the day she died was the day the 1,000,000th one was finished and placed in her room. These gave her hope to move on from this eternity to the next. Yes, But no matter what happens in life, these gave the family hope to keep going no matter what. So for those of you who have lost family to this virus, I pray for your every day of peace, knowing that God has your child, your mother, your father, your spouse, your aunt, your uncle. If you didn't lose anyone, the prayer holds that you have thanked God for everything He has done for you. You have thanked a nurse, at least one nurse, one doctor, one healthcare provider that was there for 12 to 38 to 46 to 72 hours straight, taking care of your family and making sure they came home to you, or even you yourself. This is the hope that keeps you going and doesn't let you down and doesn't let you get depressed no longer. Doesn't let you feel guilty that others went before you. This is the prayer that keeps on giving. This is the hope that keeps on going. Love y'all. Peace out.